Hello and welcome on my YouTube channel. Great that you decided to watch this presentation. Today it's about the development of Bitcoin, and we want to try to answer the question, what's the right time horizon for a Bitcoin invest? What will be the content? So we will look at different time windows here. First, we look at 2 periods of 6 years. Then we are looking to 3 periods of 2 years, looking at 2 overexposures, so 2 time windows where we had extreme overvaluation. We are looking at the minimum 4-year performance, what we saw, and then we are also looking to a possible future here. What can be derived from the previous growth numbers here. And last but not least, the quintessence. But before I'm starting into the content, again, this is not an investment recommendation and this is not a trading recommendation. Let's start. So this graph we saw already in one of the previous presentations here. Again, a snapshot of the website tradingview.com, and we have here the log scale, of course. You can see this here at the vertical axis, that this is a log scale. And I want to show now what we will dig into afterwards. So first of all, we see here the peaks. Here, this one, this one, this one, and this one afterwards. And we see approximately that we have there a time distance of approximately 4 years. And what we also can say, if we look to this window here, we have approximately 2 years of constant growth per year. Then we have a bullish year, and then we have a bearish year. So 4 years approximately. And we want to look now afterwards into the 6-year period from here to here, the 6-year period from here to here. And then afterwards, we are looking at it's not really constant growth, but we are looking at this period, at this period, and this period. And then at the last point, we are looking also if we have an investment at an all-time high, as for example here, then after 4 years, what kind of gain do we still have? Let's go to the first 6 years period here, back from 2017. And here I have again this trend line which shall express this minimum expected Bitcoin price. And we see here in this first 6-year period an annual growth of 200%, which is a factor of 3 every year. Then we are looking to the next 6-year period. And here we see, the growth is not so big anymore. This blue line shows now about 100% annual growth, meaning an X factor of 2.1. And now we are looking to the 2-year periods. The first one, very old. And here, of course, we had an extreme growth, 420% per year, meaning an X factor of 5.2. The next 2 years period with constant growth, we had 150% annual growth, so an X factor of 2.5 per year. And the last 2-year period, what we can see here, here we have 1.9 an X factor, so 90% annual growth. Now we are looking to the overexposures. The first we are looking at is end of 2013. And what we see here, compared to our minimum expected Bitcoin price, we have here a massive, a really massive overexposure. This factor is about 40. To be more precise, it's 40.5, this X factor of overexposure. And end of 2017, yeah, you see it's not 40 anymore. So this overexposure is now 13.7. Yeah, we want to look also at the minimum 4-year performance. Here, end of 2017, we had an all-time high. And we want to see after 4 years, what is still the growth? What is still the gain? And this is the only exception. I do not have a log scale here. So I have normalized this all-time high to 100 points here. And you can see afterwards, after 4 years, we have still a factor of 2.2, something in that range. So this means still after 4 years, you have a reasonable gain. Of course, if you have an investment here at this point and you go 1 year later, yeah, you are here not at 100 points anymore. This is about 20 here. So meaning 8% loss. But after 4 years, you still have a gain afterwards. Yeah, what can be derived for a possible future here? Here we saw the X factors of the 2-year periods in black. These are the numbers what we saw. Yeah? The first we saw an X factor of 5.2, the next 2.5, 1.9. So it's declining over the time. And the new numbers which I generate, I explain in a few seconds how I did come to that, is 1.67 and 1.56. Then we had the X factors of 6 years period. The first one was 3 and the second one was 2.1. Yeah, and what I generated here is the possible future. And let's see how I derived the numbers. The first number which I derived is the 2.5 from the 5.2. And what I did here is I took the 5.2 minus the same number divided by 2. And I'm coming to 2.6. It's not really 2.5, but we are approximately at the same value. So the second value, I'm doing similar things. I'm taking the number from the previous 2-year period, so 2.5. And then I'm subtracting 2.5 divided by 2 divided by 2. So I added here another division by 2. And I'm coming to the value of 1.875, so which is really good fitting here. Yeah, and you can imagine the next number is derived in a similar way. Again, I'm adding here a division by 2. And for that, I'm coming to 1.66. And here I was a little bit below the real value, and therefore I'm also adding here a little bit. So from 1.66 to 1.67. Yeah, and similar, the last number which I generated, also here again an additional division by 2. How about the X factors of the 6-year periods? So I think it's clear this 6-year period contains 2 years of that and 2 years of that. And in the middle we have 2 years. So we have to generate this number 3 out of the 2 numbers here. And what I did here is the following. I'm assuming that we have 4 years with a lower number and 2 years with a higher number. And then I'm doing so as if we would have 6 years. And this would result to the factor of 3.19. It's a little bit above this value. but let's see what the next number will give us. And here we are doing the same. We are taking the lower number, the 1.9, and assuming 4 years, and taking this number, 2.5, for 2 years. And here, if I apply the same principle, this is a very good match. So 2.082 compared to the value 2.1, what we want to have. Yeah, and I generated the same values here, the next values in the same way, always taking the lower value for 4 years and the higher value for 2 years, and then calculating for 1 year out of 6. Yeah, this is what I did here, and this is for the growth. And what is the possible future maybe for the overexposures, for the overvaluations? Here we saw the X factors of the overvaluations. The first one was 40.5 and the next one was 13.7. So how did I generate the 4.6 and 2.2 here? If you look to the numbers here, if it shrinks from 40 to 14, I think that's clear that the next one will be a little bit smaller than the half, right? So from the feeling here, that must be a little bit smaller than 7, right? The next one. Let us see what I did here. So I took, for generating the 13.7, I took the 40.5, and then I'm doing the power to the 1 over, and this is the root of 2. And I'm coming to exactly this value. This is very surprising. Of course, we have a lot of uncertainty here because we are generating here numbers only out of 2. So we have only 2 numbers which are really fitting, and the third and the fourth is, it's a pure guess here, but and I did it the same way here, but I'm adding a 1 here at this point, so it's not the root of 2 anymore, it's the root of 3. And we are coming then to the value of 4.5 approximately. And here I'm also adding a little bit, I'm up rounding here to 4.6. Yeah, and the last value is the same. I'm adding here again a 1, and I'm coming then to the number 2.2 approximately. Yeah, but what is now the really current development? And I'm also doing here a trend line for the future. And we can see here in the year 2021 that we have some overexposures here. They are not so high. Now the highest is this one, and this is the factor 4.9. So it means, the equations seem to fit here. And I'm also not really expecting that we will afterwards here in 2022 a real extreme high. This is very unlikely because we saw already from the beginning of the year 2022 that it's declining here a little bit concerning the value. Yeah, and here this blue line, this blue trend line shows an annual X factor of 1.77. We calculated 1.75 for a 6-year period here. And what you will also see here, everybody is talking about the 100K US dollar. So currently nobody is talking about it anymore, but a few months ago everybody still was talking about it. I see the 100K only a little bit later here, and for that I have also again a graphic for that. So here I took really the X factor of 1.75, and you can see somewhere in 2025 I think we will see for sure the 100K US dollars, but before, maybe it can happen. But concerning the minimum expected price, I see this only at the in 2025. Yeah, what can be said for the quintessence? So first of all, the Bitcoin development can be seen in 4-year cycles, consisting of 2 years constant growth. Of course, it's not constant, but compared to the other times, it's a constant growth. And after this constant growth, we have one bullish year where we have really peaks. And after that, we have one bearish year. The overexposure, as well as the constant growth, is shrinking from cycle to cycle. We saw this. This means the Bitcoin is becoming more solid. And we also saw, even if you buy at an all-time high, there is still a reasonable gain after 4 years. But you have to be patient. Yeah? If you buy at an all-time high, then 1 year later, we saw this in the graph, you maybe have 80% loss. But again, you have to be patient. Yeah, so what is the consequence at the end? The time horizon for an investment should be at least 4 years, from my point of view. And many investors are recommending DCA, dollar cost averaging. This means you are investing from month to month or from week to week a little bit, so that you have an averaging over the time. So sometimes you are investing in a hype phase, sometimes you are investing at a constant growth phase, and sometimes you are investing also in a bearish year. But at the end, you have an averaging effect here. And also recommended by many investors is to buy the big dip. But what means big dip? So certainly not 30%. This is a normal variation here in the Bitcoin price. It should be a dip definitely greater than 40%, better 50%. Because you can see this in the graphs. You must have then really a big dip. Yeah, that's it for today. I hope that gives a little bit more insight to this Bitcoin development. Yeah, thanks, and I hope we see us again in one of the next videos. Thanks, and bye-bye.